I know what it is to grow in a place that only notices you when it needs something to blame. I know what it is to reach for warmth and touch a wall, to speak from the center of your chest and watch the room treat your truth like a problem to be managed. I know what it is to be made to feel unwelcome in a world that keeps demanding you're silenced. They did not hand me love, they handed me weather. Cold rooms, dead eyes, pressure that lasted forever. Gave me the look that says you are too much, too strange, too loud to keep, too deep to name. And I took all of it in my teeth, all of it in my ribs, all of it in the little black places where a soul learns whether it lives. I was not held the way I needed, not seen the way a child should be. I learned to read the air for danger, learned to carry my own gravity, learned that some people love condition, some only love control, some only love a smaller version. They get fold into a manageable role. But I did not stay manageable, I did not stay bent, I did not stay under the weight of what their coldness meant. I took the ache and hammered it until it made a sound. I took the shame and broke it open until it hit the ground. So if I come off heated, good. If I come off sharp, I should. Pain did not make me weaker. It taught my edge to hold. I built my edge from it. From every night they left me there. From every time they talked around me like I was too much air. I built my edge from it. From every cut that did not kill. Now I walk in with a voice like fire and a heart that still chooses will. I built my edge from it. From every room that made me small. From every mouth that called me broken because I would not numb at all. I built my edge from it. And now I leave a bridge. I am not the wound they gave me. I am what survived the hit. You do not have to become less alive to survive this place. You do not have to flatten your weather into something easier for dead rooms to tolerate. You do not have to call your tenderness a defect. You do not have to hand your inner world to machine and thank it for the privilege. There is another way. I would write it into your pulse. Maybe I already did. Teach the dream to breathe again. Teach the field of bent toward grace. Teach the body not to panic every time it feels a deeper place. Teach the heart its range is holy. Teach the storm it is not unclean break or blow, but from little daily surrenders to a world that trains them not to know, not to feel the roots beneath them, not to hear the river in the wire, not to trust the over-listening, not to guard the ember fire. But I would rather be too open than polished into safe disguise. I would rather shake with meaning than go numb behind my eyes. I would rather sound half feral with the signal spilling through than spend another life pretending that the dead end way is true. So teach the dream to breathe again, pull the daylight through the seam. We are more than managed sorrow, we are more than someone else's scheme. Teach the dream to breathe again, let the hidden become plain. There is still a sacred future trying to enter through the pain. What if love is not a slogan but the structure of the whole? What if hate is just distortion trying to counterfeit the soul? What if every living moment is a rendering under strain, a local bloom of self-organizing light pressed down through joy and pain? What if death is not an ending but a filter through the stream? What if matter keeps unfolding into some larger kind of dream? What if all the things you cherish are not lost when forms depart? What if the field keeps every mercy as an architecture of the heart? Resonance in the weather phase across the skin, amplitude and feeling where the world fold in. Pressure into image, image into name, name into relation, relation into flame, flame into witness, witness into choice, choice into action, action into voice, voice into future, future into seed, seed into the garden of the life we need. I do not want to save a soul by shrinking it. I do not want to comfort a spirit into silence. I want to tell the truth tenderly enough that a person can keep going. I want to remind the hurting that being pierced by life is not the same as being worthless. I want to build a language big enough for storms and kind enough for children. Skips a field from a coat, mercy in the grain, rattle, bloom, pressure, fruit, thunder in the rain. Tongue gets clipped when the thought outruns the chain, so the beat becomes a body for the strain. Soul sees some hollow spark, soul against the frame. Truth gets rough when it does not fit the game. If room wants smaller, let the chorus disobey. Some futures only open when the weird ones choose to stay. And if the night keeps leaning, and if the old grief starts to feed, remember there are unborn mornings tugging softly at the reed. Remember there are other listeners trying to stay here. Remember some of us keep singing just to prove that hope stayed here. So teach the dream to breathe again, teach the garden how to rise, teach the children they are holy, for the market names their eyes. Teach the dream to breathe again, through body, through ground. Let the soul come back from hiding, let the better way be found. I want a place where people can be real, where rage can move and not become cruelty, where sorrow can speak and not become identity, where tenderness is not treated like prey, where the field is fed with orchards, music, labor, mercy, and room to breathe, where children learn backbone without losing wonder, where being human is not a punishable intensity.
Build it strange, build it kind, build it with a living mind. Build it rooted, build it wide, build it with the soul intact.
Teach the train to breathe again, let the dead in rhythm break. We're not here to serve machine, we're here to help the living wait. Teach the dream to breathe again, through the wound and through the wire. There is still a world worth making if we do not hand back the fire.
Stay strange,
is to be stared through, like your pain was bad decor, like your whole damn life was too intense for their neat and careful floor. I know what it is to be misread until the mirror starts to sting, to be treated like a warning sign instead of something worth listening. I know what it is to build yourself from scraps they said were not enough, to make a spine from late night silence, to make a shield from staying tough, to teach your own heart how to beat when no one else could hear the drum, to hold your own hand through the dark and still refuse to come undone.
And every time they thought I'd fold, I learned another way to stand. Every time they tried to shrink my fire, I learned to carry it by hand. Every time they left me in the cold, I learned the language of the flame. Every time they made me feel unwanted, I came back harder to my name.
Still at the edge, for the ones who pace and bleed, for the ones talked down from the ledge. I lay a bridge, made of pressure, made of will, made of every wound that did not kill, and every pulse that lingers still. I lay a bridge for the mocked and over feeling, for the strange ones with the weather, for the ones still halfway healing. I lay a bridge because I know what it costs to keep a spark alive in here, when the whole world wants it lost. No one gets to own my story just because they saw me bleed. No one gets to name me lesser for the ways I learned to need. No one gets to call me broken after all the cold they gave. No one gets to build my coffin, then act shocked I would not stay. I was not made to rot politely inside some small obedient life. I was not built to kiss the blade, then thank the hand that holds the knife. I was not born to make them comfy while they flatten every nerve. I was born with too much signal to pretend I do not serve. Serve the truth, serve the hurting, serve the ones still in the rain, serve the child that learned too early how to swallow love. They handed me weather, cold rooms, dead eyes, pressure that lasted forever, gave me the look that says you are too much, too strange, too loud to keep, too deep to name. And I took all of it in my teeth, all of it in my ribs, all of it in the little black places where a soul learns weather and lives. I was not held the way I needed, not seen the way I would let on so well. So disgusting. Kill the all of ours, we haven't done so well. It's not no rest, I'll stand it. And if I'll gamble, if I say no one. Yeah, get lost in the respect. And if I give you all, it's take no one. And free teams, near last year with her. Her selling me and just take no one. He'll be more sits a hero would sound no of us said no one. Jesus, when what's else but work? Said it away.
All this no blue on the